UFC Fight Night, Walker versus Zhang in Shanghai, China is this weekend, and it's actually a pretty good card on paper, so let's get right into it. We have the first fight of the night, which is Daya Nogosei versus Yuran Soti Balidiev. This is actually a very tough fight, but just based on who they fought, like I rate losing to Martin Buday a little bit more than losing to Ribeiro. I know that's maybe not the best way to like pick fights, but like look, getting Kimura by Bredson Ribeiro is a lot worse than short notice losing to Martin Buday out of your natural weight class. So I'm gonna go with the Kyrgyzstan fighter here. I think he'll win. Now I worry about the gas tank, but both these guys are sort of gases, so I'm gonna go with Uran to get this one done. I just favour him a little bit more. He's a bit older, but just you shouldn't be getting subbed and outclassed by Ribeiro. Then we've got Long Long Xu versus Su Young Yu. I'm gonna go with Su Young Yu. He, in my opinion, seems is the better fighter. Good grappler. I mean, he did destroy AJ Cunningham. Cunningham's not like the greatest guy, and Long did chin Kwang Lee, which is pretty impressive. And he did lose to Chang Ho Lee by split decision. So he's not bad. He's not a bad fighter by any means. I just think Yu will probably get this one done. It's a close fight, but Yu is just very grapple heavy. And the Koreans, have been on a good roll at the moment. Korean MMA seems to be quite high level in the East Asia region, so I'll go with the Korean here. Then we've got Yiz Ha versus Weston Wilson. I mean, you got to go with Yiz Ha here. He's coming off a loss to Gabriel Santos, but Gabriel Santos is pretty good, and he beat Quan Lee by submission. Now, the last time Weston Wilson did fight a Road to UFC guy, he did go in there and he did sub him pretty damn easily. That could maybe happen here again, but he is a lot older. Huge underdog here. He's going to be a bit bigger, 6'1", 5'7", but I think Yizhar's going to get this one done. He's not that bad. Then we got Michelle Pereira versus Kyle Dorcas. I've got to go with Michelle Pereira here. Kyle Dorcas is on a good run of things since he got cut from the UFC, but in one of these fights, I think it was against, who was it? I think it was against Greg Ellis. He did almost get badly chinned in that fight, and then they just like he got saved by the bell. I don't even think the bell actually went there. It was like some shady stuff. I think it was the fight against Greg Ellis, where he just did quite literally get saved. Yeah, it was Greg Ellis. I'm pretty sure. I could see Michelle Pereira going in there and chinning him. Now I worry that Pereira is gonna have no output. He's going to fight very similar to how he did against Abbas Magomedov. But he really should just be able to chin Kyle Dorcas quite easily. Kyle Dorcas isn't like that bad. He's not like a horrible fighter, but you got to look at like he has been chinned quite a lot. He doesn't have the best chin. Chinned by Eric Anders. Chinned by Roman Dolidze in a minute as well. Like that's crazy. And then he got dropped by Phil Hawes, I believe, and he lost to Brendan Allen on short notice. Not too bad, but like I don't know. I think that Michelle Pereira is gonna get this one done. I worry about picking him though because he looks so unbelievably defeated against Abbas Magomedov, so it does scare me. But this is a much better matchup for him than Marco Tulio. If Michelle Pereira is smart, he will just like attack Kyle Dorcas and get this one done. Like surely we're not gonna. Surely he's not going to lose to Kyle Dorcas. This could be famous last words, but I'm going with Michelle Pereira there. Then we've got Rongzhu versus Austin Hubbard. Whew, this is a tough one too. I mean, you sort of got to go with Rongzhu looking at the run Austin Hubbard's on. He arguably could have beat Alexander Hernandez, but I think that Hernandez won that one. Medeiros, he lost that one. He doesn't really do damage. And Rongzhu coming over a good win over Cody Steele. He lost to Chris Patia, but Chris Patia is actually like very underrated. He just keeps winning. And he did sub Shin Haraguchi, who Haraguchi did move up a weight class for that fight. But he's a pretty good grappler, although obviously you could see Rongzhu was quite bigger than him. Oh, this is a tough one in thinking about it. But Rongzhu, he's much younger than Hubbard. He's 25. Believe it or not, got cut from the UFC. He's back, and he's only 25 years of age. He's improving a lot. He's got more experience, and he would be improving a lot more than Austin Hubbard is. So I'm going to go Rongzhu. I think Rongzhu will get it done. Then we've got Lona Kavanagh versus Charles Johnson. This fight's pretty close, to be honest. This fight's pretty close. But you've got to go with Lona Kavanagh because his wins do have aged decently well. Obviously, Felipe Dos Santos got cut after his win, so maybe not the best there. But Jose Ochocha, I know he did lose his last fight, but he showed that he's like UFC level, destroyed Cody Durden. So Jose Ochocha was a UFC level opponent. Charles Johnson lost to Cody Durden. This is not the reason why I'm picking Lona Kavanagh. Obviously, MMA math doesn't work that way. But I just think Lona Kavanagh has got a pretty good style. He's improving rapidly. And Charles Johnson, to be fair, last time around, Ramazan Tamirov did pop for PEDs. So maybe that, in hindsight, that's not too bad of a loss. And he, beat Azmat Maxam, beat Hadley, beat Joshua Van, which aged very well because Joshua Van's fighting for the belt next. And he beat Suma Durji. But I don't know. I just think Lorna Kavanagh's got that tricky striking style. Plus, I think he can mix in the grappling. I know Charles Johnson has really good grappling defense. Even Bakayev wasn't really taking him down very often. He did win just by holding him. But I'm going to go with Lorna Kavanagh here. I think Lorna Kavanagh is going to find a way to win. Plus, he is Chinese. He's half Chinese. If there's a close decision, they will give it to Lorna Kavanagh. Then we got Mashahate Haizar versus Gage Young. I'm going to go with Gage Young. I think he's very good. He did lose his last fight to Evan Elder, but Evan Elder is a fucking marauder, and Marshate is just very chinny. He did beat Steve Garcia. People forget that he did beat Steve Garcia. Should have probably lost to Gabriel Benitez. Wasn't a great performance. He lost to Rafa Garcia, where he got destroyed in that one too. But he will always have that one win over Steve Garcia, weirdly enough. But Steve Garcia shouldn't have been at lightweight, so fair's fair. I'm going to say Gage Young will get this one done. Good takedown defense, good striking. He's gritty, he's powerful. I think he can knock out Mahashata. Gage Young, his losses to Evan Elder, who's good. Quillen Salkid, who's very good. Bobby Lee, not the best loss, but that was ages ago. He's a young man. He's 25 years of age. He's powerful. Good takedown defense. The most impressive part of his game is probably his takedown defense. Now, I don't think he'll have to utilize that too much against Mahashate, but I just think he will be the better striker here, and I think Gage Young will win. Then we've got Talaki Naraji versus Kiefer Crosby. Oh, man, I don't know, man. Do I go with Kiefer Crosby or do I go with the fucking 11-1 prospect who every single person in the know of Asian MMA is going with? That's a tough one. Yeah, I'm going to go with Talaki. I'm so sorry for the way I'm pronouncing his name. He's Kazakh Chinese. Obviously the Kazakh fighter yesterday. Mahashate is also Kazakh. There's actually quite a lot of Kazakh Chinese fighters. People of the Kazakh ethnicity is actually overrepresented when it comes to Chinese fighters, considering like how many Kazakhs there actually are in China. They're very overrepresented in MMA fighters. Very impressive for that community. Like there's over 1 billion Han Chinese people in China, but the Kazakhs, they're really standing out here. But anyway, I think that Naraji is going to beat Kiefer Crosby. I think he's going to KO Kiefer Crosby, beat him up. Now, Crosby has just been subbed in all of his fights, and maybe, Naraji will want to go with that approach. Maybe he will want to just try in there, go in there and sub him. But this guy's very violent. He's very violent, gets a lot of KOs in his wins. Left hooks. He did get an armbar. Punches, KO, 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 punches. He's only got one submission. Over a pretty decent opponent, 8-3 opponent. His last fight was over a 1-1 guy, not the best guy, but I don't know. He should just win this fight. If it's a back and forth striking fight, Crosby does have a boxing background, so maybe it could be a bit interesting. But I think if all else fails, Naraji can just wrestle, but I think he will just also win on the feet. Now, Kevin Doucette, from memory, I'm pretty sure he was piecing up Crosby, and I think there's a big reach advantage. Yeah, the 6-inch reach advantage, younger opponent, better opponent, taller opponent. I think that Super Saiyan's going to get this one done over Kiefer Crosby. Then we got Suma Durji versus Kevin Borges. I picked Kevin Borges to beat Rolando Rodriguez because Rolando Rodriguez is just not UFC level. I know he beat Odie Osborne, but he shouldn't have beat Odie Osborne. I think that Suma Durji is going to win this fight, to be honest with you. Suma Durji's not that bad, He isn't that bad. The Mitch Rapazzo fight was really bad, but he arguably should have beat Charles Johnson, And he got subbed by Tim Elliott, but there's no. I mean, Tim Elliott just beat Kaya Sakura, so it's not really like the worst loss in the world. Tim Elliott's just one of those dangerous unk veterans who seem to just keep winning somehow. But yeah, beat Ronaldo Rodriguez, got chinned by Alexandro Costa, had a back and forth fight with Joshua Van, and I think he beat Victor Diaz on Dana White Contender Series to win. He's a scrappy guy, but he's not going to be able to utilize the grappling here. He's a pure striker. I like Super Doji in the striking. His chin is a bit worrying, obviously, with the Matt Schnell fight, back and forth. But Super Doji took a lot of damage in that fight, but he's come back. I'm not as high on Super Doji as some people maybe are, but I think he can beat Kevin Borges. Then we got Sergey Pavlovich versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. It's fucking it. It's over. This reign of terror needs to end. The Waldo Cortez Acosta reign of terror needs to end. For God's sake, he can't keep getting away with this. He just can't keep getting away with this. He's on a 5-fight winning streak after losing to Marcos Rodrigo de Lima. Bresky, back of the head shot. Andrei Arlovsky, I'm pretty sure he arguably could have lost that one, or at least it was like semi-close. Spain, he just laid on top of him. Ryan Spann, no IQ, gets chinned. And then Sergey Spivak. I thought Spivak won. Like, he just can't keep getting away with this. He just can't keep getting away with it. He also arguably could have lost to Jared Vandera. Arguably could have lost to Vandera. We can't let him get away with this. Sergey Pavlovich, if he comes here and fights like we know he can fight, if he just shows up how he did against Curtis Blades, he can just knock out Cortez Acosta. He's not some unchinnable guy. We've seen him get hurt against Spivak, and he's been chinned out cold in boxing. Your main skill set is boxing, Sergey Pavlovich. You're a big, powerful boxer who's using 4-ounce gloves. You can chin Waldo Cortez Acosta if you really, really want to. Don't have a low output fight, because Waldo Cortez Acosta will just win a low output fight. He just has some sort of plot armor when it comes to the judges. They like his taunting ability, I guess. Sergey Pavlovich, for the love of God, chin this man. Not that I have anything against him or the Dominicans, I know Black and Dominican Papi, but I just think that Sergey Pavlovich is going to win. And I really hope he wins, because Waldo Cortez Acosta's reign of terror needs to end. For God's sake, we're going to see this guy facing off with fucking Tom Aspinall if he wins this fight. You guys realize we are a fight or two away from Waldo Cortez Acosta fighting Tom Aspinall? They could do him versus Blades. Blade tore his meniscus. He might not be the same after that, Waldo Cortez Acosta has good takedown defense. He might just come back and beat fucking Curtis Blades after this fight, you guys. You guys realize that's a possibility, right? We might get Cortez Acosta versus Tom Aspinall if Pavlovich doesn't step up his game here. Then we've got Brian Ortega versus Aljamain Sterling. I feel like I've picked every single favorite on the card, which is crazy. And I'm going to pick another one. I think Brian Ortega is very washed. I know Aljamain Sterling's the older guy here, but he showed that he can grapple back and forth with Movsar Evloev, which is very impressive. While Brian Ortega's last time around was against Diego Lopez, where he was just being used as a pinball machine, having his head pinged all over the place. Lost every round to Diego Lopez. Got dropped, then woke back up with a follow-up shot. His chin looked really bad. Now, I know Aljamain Sterling isn't going to be able to utilize the chin, but Brian Ortega just looks a lot weaker lately. Doesn't look as strong. I think Aljamain Sterling's going to be the stronger guy, the better grappler. I know that Brian Ortega's got his crazy jiu-jitsu, but I think Aljamain Sterling is a bantamweight. Lighterman skill, we seen it yesterday with Hamzat Chimaev versus Strick Duplessis. Lighterman skill normally prevails, especially when it comes to grappling. Especially Aljamain's not a small featherweight either. He's pretty big, bulky dude, stocky. And Brian Ortega's not really a guy who goes out there and wrestle fucks anybody. Even on the feet, I reckon Aljamain, his striking's not that bad. Now, he's not powerful. I don't think he's going to go in there and chin Brian Ortega. But I think he will win a decision here. I think he's going to win a decision. I think he can hold down Brian Ortega. I think he can avoid the triangle attempts and whatever Brian Ortega throws up. I'm going to go Aljamain Sterling. It's a bit of a risky pick because Ortega can just finish the fight at any time, but it's 3 rounds. That benefits Aljo. Aljo's a bit of a gasser. He has gassed out quite a lot. But in a 3-rounder, I like him to get the decision here. So I'm going Aljamain Sterling by decision. And then we have the main event. We got Johnny Walker versus Mingyang Zhang. I'm going to go with Mingyang Zhang by brutal first-round flatline KO. Johnny Walker has been KO'd out cold his last 2 fights. got KO'd by Magomed Ankalaev, got KO'd by Volkan Oezdemir. He got KO'd by Jamal Hill. He survived Thiago Santos. Uh, he got chinned by Corey Anderson. His chin is bad. We've seen him get hurt. Even against Ryan Spann in the fight he won, he got chinned there. We didn't get chinned, but he almost got knocked out. But like, we just know his chin's not good. And what we know about Minyang Zhang is he is very powerful. Now he's gonna not as long as Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker's gonna have a big reach advantage, size advantage here. But Minyang Zhang, he's just very powerful. He can wrestle if he really needs to. And I just think as soon as he lands a shot on Johnny Walker's chin, I do think he's just going to go cold. Like, I just think we're going to see him get put right out cold. Yeah, like, who knows? Johnny Walker, who knows? Maybe he chins Minyang Zhang. Zhang has been carried a lot on the regional scene. But I think they were all fights when he was depleting himself a lot. Like, he did lose to Askar Mozarov at light heavyweight. Maybe not the best look there. What's this one? This was at light heavy. Okay, a lot of these losses are at light heavyweight. Okay, so maybe he's not the most durable guy in the world. Lost to John Varkey, who's a wrestler. I know John Varkey. He's a staple of the Australian MMA scene. Yeah, so I do worry, but like, I mean, you look at the streak he's been on. Hasn't been chin since 2019. Not 2019, since 2018. So it's been a while since he's been chinned. He destroyed Brinson Ribeiro, destroyed Ozzy Diaz, destroyed Anthony Smith. Not the greatest guys, but I just think he's powerful enough to go in there and chin Johnny Walker. I think eventually Mingyang Zhang's going to face his, tough opponent where we maybe see if that chin really is as bad as his previous fights show. Or maybe he just, I don't know, who knows? Maybe he was taking dives or something because I don't know how he lost to Askar Mozarov. But regardless, I think that Mingyang Zhang is going to KO Johnny Walker. I worry about maybe the grappling here. Who knows? Johnny Walker could really take a grapple heavy approach if he really wants to. Like, we haven't seen the takedown defense of Mingyang Zhang tested. Like, there is some factors that could really go into Johnny Walker ball festing his way to a decision if he's smart. But if he's not smart, he's just going to hit right in front of Mingyang Zhang. And they're going to exchange. And I think in the first exchange that Zhang lands, I think he will just brutally flatline KO Johnny Walker. So yeah, that's my prediction. Let's just go through the fights, and I'll give you my methods to victory. I'm going to say that Iran gets. I'll say Iran gets probably another Kimura. I mean, his last win is a Kimura. He'll probably get a Kimura. I'll go decision. For Young, I'll go decision. For Hiza, I'll say he gets a TKO. For Michelle Pereira, I'll go TKO. For Rongzhu, I'll say decision. Lona Kavanagh, I'll say decision. For Gage Young, I'll go TKO. For Naraji, I'll go TKO. For Sumadurji, I'll say decision. For Sergey Pavlovich, I'll go TKO. For Aljamain, I'll say decision. And for the main event, I'm going to go Mingyang Zhang by KO. So those are my predictions, my methods to victory. For the card, let me know who you guys have winning these fights. Pretty decent card, pretty decent card. It's on Saturday, by the way. If you're Australian, this card's not on Sunday. It's on Saturday in the afternoon. Just so you guys know, just a heads up to everybody. I mean, if you've been watching the other East Asia cards, you know it's always been the deal what they do. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, put on notifications. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.